For this and the other presentations associated with airborne transmission, it is important to have an understanding of certain terminology. A zoonotic disease is one in which both humans and animals can acquire, whether it's by airborne transmission or another mode of transmission. Humans and animals acquire disease from one another through the spread of pathogens, which are disease elements such as bacteria or viruses. When these disease pathogens are aerosolized, meaning the pathogens are converted into a fine spray or suspension in the air, they travel through the air and are then inhaled by a host, resulting in airborne disease transmission. Once an animal or human is infected with the disease, they can infect other individuals when they are shedding the disease pathogens. Shedding is the active process of discharging disease pathogens, which can then become aerosolized and inhaled by other individuals, continuing the cycle of airborne disease spread. After disease transmission occurs, the individual that is now infected may not always show signs or symptoms immediately. This period is referred to as the incubation period, which is the development of an infection without outward signs of disease. So, just because you or your animal feel and appear healthy doesn't mean disease transmission hasn't already occurred. Once an individual is infected with a disease, the immune system will work to mount a response in order to fight off the infection. The immune system's response begins when antigens are recognized by the body. Antigens are substances that are foreign to the body, such as bacteria or viruses, among others. Once a disease antigen is recognized, it becomes bound to antibodies, which are protein products of the immune system that bind antigens in an effort to remove them from the body. Particularly, when thinking of viruses, it's important to keep in mind the idea of reassortment. Reassortment is the process of rearranging genetic material between viruses so that it gives rise to different genes. With influenza, reassortment can result in numerous combinations of the virus. When disease keeps spreading, it can result in something known as a disease outbreak. Disease outbreaks can be classified as an epidemic, which is an outbreak affecting numerous people within a population, community, or region, or as a pandemic, which is an outbreak affecting numerous people over a wide geographic area. A disease reservoir is the living or non-living material in or on which an infectious agent multiplies and or develops and is dependent on for its survival. A disease reservoir can be a significant source of infection. Along with getting diseases from the disease reservoir, it is also possible to contract disease from fomites. A fomite is an object that carries disease from an animal to a person. Things such as contaminated brushes, needles, clothing, and bedding are all considered fomites. Excreta is waste matter that is eliminated or separated from the body, such as feces or urine, and is a common source of infection. Biosecurity refers to preventive measures implemented to protect yourself, other people, and animals from exposure to pathogens. The use of personal protective equipment, commonly referred to as PPE, is an essential component to preventing spread of disease. PPE is equipment worn to minimize exposure to a variety of hazards. Gloves, foot and eye protection, earplugs, hard hats, respirators, and full body suits are all examples of PPE. Listed on this slide are several zoonotic diseases that can be aerosolized. In livestock, important diseases include tuberculosis, Q fever, brucellosis, and swine influenza. There are federal eradication programs in place to reduce the incidence of tuberculosis and brucellosis. And as a result of these programs, most states are tuberculosis and brucellosis free. In poultry, avian influenza, psittacosis, and histoplasmosis are all capable of being aerosolized. The distance that aerosolized particles can travel and remain infective varies from disease to disease. Although specific distances for all diseases are not known, it is generally accepted that some pathogens require close proximity for transmission, while other pathogens, such as tuberculosis and Q fever, can be transmitted over long distances.